right, what's going on, everybody? Mike, introduce yourself. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, Richie.
Man, first of all, I would like to thank you for being the first guy on the channel. And what's the best way to start off with an AMG Mercedes? So tell us a little about yourself. What kind of car you got set up right now?
So this is a 2024 Mercedes-Benz C63 SE. It's the first of its kind. They switched from the traditional V8 twin turbo to now a 4-cylinder hybrid. So it doesn't have the same throaty sound, but it definitely has a lot more power. They say an estimated 671 horsepower compared to the previous 503. So it's a much different type of car, but so far so good. I really enjoy it.
Now, the world knows about your car, but really no one really knows you. Because at the end of the day, if we want to look in the video on the internet and someone looks up your car, there's tons of videos, obviously. But let's talk about you for a little bit, because we want to know where the passion began. Like, where did this passion begin of like loving the cars? Like, where did it begin?
Oh man, it started when I was younger. I probably got into cars, I would say around when I was 13, did the passion start. My dad took me to some car shows when I was a kid. That kicked it off. I had an aunt that bought me a book on classic cars, and I read through that book over and over and over and over, and that really got me obsessed with cars.
Whoa. And like, when you say you're obsessed with cars, like, was it like the muscle cars? Was it like imports? Or any car in general?
When I was younger, probably more muscle cars. Like, I loved the Charger. You know, it's the V8 sound that got me. And then probably the first car that I really loved was the Dodge Viper. I was obsessed with that car as a kid. There was a kid that I grew up with. His dad had one, and to me the kid was like a star of the town because his dad had a Dodge Charger.
Man, I can only imagine that. Like, when you was like, can you imagine like that, being that young and you see a car of that, something that you see in magazines, to see it in real time? It's like me, that's something I would never imagine. Like, cars like those, I only see it in magazines or in movies.
Right.
Like, to be fortunate to see a car like that live and like you get to experience it, that's really cool. That's really cool. Now, what was your first car?
My first car was a 1998 7 Series BMW. So
a 7 Series?
A
you started big.
740. Yeah, my friends called it the boat.
Yeah, I was like, that's not for a first car.
Yeah.
That's woohoo.
This was, I think, in 2009 or 2010. I think 09. So the car was already a bit old, but man, I loved that car. It was a V8, naturally aspirated. It rode like a dream. It was good. The car was good to me too. Very little issues. It was comfortable, and it was rear wheel drive. And growing up in New York, you know, in the snow in the winter, it was kind of hard to handle that car. But we used to take it out drifting. For a heavy car, I was able to swing that thing around.
Man. But you know what? Like, it's not the typical, because every time you hear someone bought the first car, a car that grandma had. Or it's usually never a car of a 7 Series, because the 7 Series, when you think about it, you think of a smooth, relaxed, cool car. But like, for instance, my first car was a 1998 Toyota Camry. Well, what's so interesting about my first car was it was a 5-speed Camry. So I don't know how I was blessed to get a 5-speed Camry, but that was a car that no one even knew existed in a 5-speed. But for a BMW, that's one heck of an experience.
I love that car.
Oh man. Like, what was it? Like, did you do any miles to it, or you just kept the stock when you had it?
No, that was stock. So I was 16. So, well, actually, the only thing that I did, not really a performance mod, but I bought a 15-inch Kicker L7 and slapped that in the trunk of it. A big boy subwoofer, and it basically rattled the car apart until the rear view mirror fell off. The trunk always felt like it was a little bit loose, like it was gonna blow off. But that's it.
Man, but the reason why I said when it comes to modding, because usually, like, you know, when you get our first car, we want to put tints. When, like you say you had to put the sound system in there, but like, when it comes to like modding your cars, do you believe in like knockoffs? Like, you know, when someone said like, yo, I'm gonna buy engineering tape, but then if you go on eBay, it's the same function, but it has no name on it. But do you really believe in like brand knockoffs?
You know, personally, I'd rather stick with the brand name. You know, I'd rather spend a little bit more money and just be safe.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to throw something in the car and then it be faulty and cause a whole bunch of other issues. So personally, I'd rather stick with the brand name.
Yeah, because the reason why I say that, because my problem is not to make it about me, but the thing is that when I was growing up, everybody called me cheap because of the fact it's like if I can cut any corners, I would. But the funny thing about it, my friend of mine, he had bought an engine air intake, and that cost him like $350. And we had the same car, and I bought a brand from eBay, and I think it cost like maybe $80. My mind was like, it's an air intake, it functions the same. If you're paying for the name, but then I realized the filter is what's been proven.
Right.
So as time went on, it does really matter on the brand that you buy. It really does matter. Now, let's see. Now, if it comes to car brands, like, do you have a top 5?
Man,
like
that's
right
a
now,
tough one.
If you had a car brand from 1 to 5, like from top 5, what's your top 5 brands when it comes to cars?
Do exotics count?
You know what? At this segment, let's say no, and not the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So naturally, I'm gonna stick with Mercedes-Benz as being my number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, I would say BMW. I love the M5 Comp and the M8 Comp.
Okay.
Number 3, I would say number 3, Audi, but the only Audi that I really love is the R8 and the RS7 and the RS6.
Okay.
Number 4, I'm a big Honda guy. I am. I had Hondas growing up. I had a Civic
Hondas.
Si. I love that car.
Yeah.
And those cars are bulletproof. So I'm gonna
Yeah,
put
they are.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
they
put Honda number 4, and then for number 5, that's a tough one. Nowadays I'm not as big into the muscle cars, but you know what? I do like the Z06 Corvette. So I'll put Chevrolet is number 5.
It's so funny. That was going to be the next question. That was going to be the follow-up, because I was about to say, are you a muscle car guy or import guy?
You know, growing up, probably import, because when I grew up in New York, there was lots of car meets, and I had the Civic Si, so
Now,
I
to hold you
really,
for that minute, like when you say car meets, like what do you think about the car meets from then compared to today?
you know, I don't feel that nowadays they're as big as they used to be. In New York, we had car meets probably 2 times a week.
Wow.
And one of them, I don't remember what the name was called, but there was like thousands and thousands of cars. So every different type of car. For example, they had the section for exotics, they had the imports, they had the muscle cars, they had the pickup trucks, they had the Jeeps. And it was like every Sunday during the summers. So that was really cool. Nowadays, I don't know if they do that as much.
From what I hear, these young bucks, man, they're getting these RTs and doing this, they call it takeovers or something like that. Forgive me if I get it wrong, but it's like what they do, they go out there and do crazy burnouts, and I think that's the new wave right now from what I see.
Yeah, it could be.
Now, I could tell you a crazy story about a car meet that I went to, that it was like every Wednesday night at 1 a.m. It was consistent. It wasn't Fort Lauderdale, and it got to the point where it's like everybody and their mom knew about it. People from Miami had to go to this car meet, and it was literally a Fast and the Furious type of scene.
Wow.
But what killed it was one day a guy decided to go with a gun there, because there was a fight that took place, and that was the last time we all been
That
there.
ended it.
But as far as today's car scene, I have not really seen it the same.
Yeah, I don't think it is the same.
Nah, which is crazy. Now, obviously, you have a car that's a hybrid.
Yeah.
What do you think would you rather an EV or a gas vehicle?
So I've had full electric, I've had the V8 twin turbo, inline 6 twin turbo, and then this is a plug-in hybrid. It's hard to say. Sometimes I do miss the V8 sound, the V8 torque, and that type of power. But this plug-in hybrid, comparing to my GT63 that I had tuned, this feels faster. Although the GT63 that I had with the tune was probably pushing 800 horsepower, this they say is around 670, and to me this feels faster. The only difference is the sound. So I think the sound is kind of what gets you a bit excited compared to just the speed. Just like Tesla Plaid is crazy fast, 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds.
Right.
But it doesn't give you the same level of excitement as, a V8 with the throaty sound to it, the burbles. So it's hard to say.
Now, Mike, we are going to get to your car because I know, like most people that might have tuned into the channel, they want to know about your car. But we'll get to it. But as a car guy yourself, I've always had this question for people, and then I get mixed answers. But I've asked people, what is considered fast nowadays? Like, I have a G37. It comes at the crank 330. Now, I've seen guys on the internet saying about Dodge Chargers and Hellcats, they're not fast. But coming from a guy who drives a G37, 330 at the crank, what is considered fast and what's considered like slow nowadays? Like what? Because like back then, 200 horsepower in the Civic was a lot of power.
You know, I think it comes down to the type of car and the vehicle's weight. You know, to me, this feels fast. It's putting out a lot of power, but it's also heavy. Now, in a lighter car, 300 horsepower is fast. That's going to throw you in the seat. It's not pulling as much weight. I think 300 horsepower and up is fast as long as it's in a light car. You know,
That's true.
If you have 300 horsepower in a 5,000, 6,000 pound truck, that's not going to push it.
Fast.
But if you have that in you know, 3,500 pound car, that's fast.
Yes,
you know,
it
my
is.
buddy has a Nissan 240SX, and it probably has 300, 350, but the car weighs nothing. So that feels fast.
That was actually well said because that's the best answer I think I've ever heard about what's considered fast. I appreciate that answer. That's actually, when you put it that way, it makes a lot of sense. It depends on the power to weight ratio. That makes a lot of sense. Now, honestly, I gotta ask you, what's the fastest car would you say you ever been in?
So like I said before, Dodge Vipers were probably always one of my favorite cars. When I was 17, I had the opportunity to ride in one. Now this one, it was far from stock, full bolt-ons. I'm pretty sure he supercharged it.
Jeez.
All said and done, it was pushing close to 1,000 horsepower.
What?
That was without a doubt the fastest car I've ever been in.
Was it on slicks? Like if it had 1,000 horsepower, I'm pretty sure that it's been on slicks or something.
It was a street car.
Oh, it's a street car.
It was a street car. So we went for a ride. I don't know if I should even say how fast that man drove that car with me in it, but it was towards the top of the speedometer. That man was pushing that car. It was terrifying. It was really terrifying.
Now I gotta ask some questions as well. Me being in the I've been married with my wife since high school. Not married in high school, but we've been together for 23 years in high school.
Wow.
We've been married for 17 years. Now I say that to say this: would your spouse care on how much money you spend on your car?
You know, she knows that I'm passionate about cars.
Oh, man.
So I keep her in the loop and I tell her, I ask her, but you know, she's not gonna say no. So does she care? Maybe a bit, but she knows it's something that I enjoy. I don't drink, I don't party, but I do like cars. So
Cool.
she doesn't give me a hard time about it.
That's awesome, bro. That's awesome. Actually, a blessing to you as well.
Yeah.
Now, this is something I think has been said on the internet. I've heard this a lot. You're originally from New York, correct?
Yeah.
I was born and raised in South Florida. But when you think about the car scene, what state would you say is the best car state for car guys?
You know, I only can compare it to the two places that I've lived, New York and here. In New York, and I don't know if it's still like it, but growing up, the car scene in New York was awesome because they had groups of every different types of car. Like they had car groups for Jeeps. They had the import groups. There was the guys with the exotics. There wasn't very many AMGs growing up or M series, but
because I think back in those, I'm not saying you're old, but I think back in those times everybody was mostly focused on like the GTIs and like, you know, car. But the AMG, I think it was like out of our reach. Well, for most of us. But like, those days I can only imagine, like what you're just saying, because when you think about New York, it's like, what time do you have besides 6 months out of the year, 4 months out of the year, you get to enjoy your car? Yeah. I'm like, how do you enjoy your car if it's modded in New York?
Yeah, it was really just in the summers. Like one of my buddies, he had the one that had a Nissan 240SX.
Yeah.
He had another one that was putting out some big power, but he could only drive it in the summer because in the winter that car wouldn't keep traction.
Jeez.
I think it was putting out like 450 to the crank.
That's a lot.
And it was like the car was pretty stripped, so that car weighed nothing.
Now, I say that to say this because Florida, we don't have the smog thing, obviously. We don't have no
Right.
smog. Your car can have a check engine light. You can still ride until you can still get it registered.
Yeah.
Me personally, I feel like California is known for their car scenes. New York is known for their car scenes with like the stuff that they do. But unfortunately, in New York, they have to shut down the whole highway just to get some runs in. So I was
Yeah.
like wondering, where did you guys ever go to Mexico and New York? As far as how do you guys get the I guess the gathering to race a car? I don't even know how to put it in words, but how do you guys like get together and make some things happen and test your cars out?
The highways at night.
With all the curves and potholes and everything?
Yeah, you really didn't see too many people pushing it for high speeds. It was more light to light type things.
Gotcha.
You know, like a quick 0 to 60. Because because there was always so much traffic in New York, it's hard to really push it.
Yeah.
So people wouldn't really go too crazy with the speed. It was more like light to light or 0 to 60 or a 30 to an 80 roll type situation.
Mm-hmm.
So it was more like that. Here in Florida, obviously the roads are more opened up, so you could push it. But in New York, it wasn't like that.
Okay. Well, because I compare it to a lot of states because I've been in Florida my whole life. It's like I think about how much lanes we have. I think
Yeah.
about like 2, 3 in the morning. The roads are practically a racetrack at that point.
Yeah.
Well, I mean Mexico. Excuse me, people. Mexico. So, but growing up in Florida has its perks because I kept thinking about we had to take advantage of our highways and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now, Mike, how old are you?
I'm 30.
30. Now, being that you're 30, what would you say was your best year when it comes? What was that best era for cars and that you could remember? Well, today's vehicles with the assist and technologies that they have today, like what would you say was the best era for car for you?
Oh man, that's a tough one. That's a good question. You know, I like the V8 sound. I like bigger engines. Not saying that I like them naturally aspirated, but the previous generation AMGs with the V8 twin turbo without the hybrid systems, I really loved. So,
Wow.
like they started with the V8s, from the beginning, but the old generation body style I really love, like the 2023s, the 22s, 21 AMGs, I really love. Especially the old body style AMG GTs, like the GTC, the GTS,
Yeah.
the GT. I love that car.
Jeez. Now, did the Fast and the Furious had any influence on you?
You know, honestly, I growing up, I wasn't too into it. You know, I think I watched some of the earlier ones, which I did like, because the import scene was pretty big in New York.
Correct.
So seeing a lot of the imports in that movie, it was cool seeing it, but none of us really try to replicate how the cars were in that movie, like with the neon lights or anything like that. So for me, not too much, but I did watch them growing up.
Dude, I promise you, after that movie theater, I borrowed my sister's car. She had a Toyota Corolla, a 96. And when I left that movie theater, when that was the first time I seen 100 miles an hour in the car. And that's where the passion began. And that was the top end speed on that car, if I'm not mistaken. But that movie had a heavy influence on me.
Yeah.
Now, let's see. Well, I don't know if I'm trying to answer this question without trying to self-incriminate someone. What was your best race in Mexico? If you can remember your best street race in Mexico.
With me as the driver or somebody else? Because sitting
Or something
shotgun,
Or something that you witnessed, yeah.
we hit just shy of 190 miles an hour
190?
riding shotgun. Yeah,
Bro.
to be exact, 187.
Oh, man.
It's terrifying. I wasn't the driver though.
190.
Driving 167.
I think the fastest I've ever been is 150, and that's in my personal car right now. That's the top end on that bad boy. Oh, you said 190.
I 187 sitting shotgun, and then me driving 167.
Jeez.
Scary. It was scary.
Damn, 190.
Both were scary.
Oh my gosh. Now, now with the transmission are getting more advanced. Oh, sorry for the wind. Now that the transmissions are so advanced as far as the automatic goes, the DSGs, whatever they go by, are you a manual guy or does it matter?
Now, personally, if AMG made manual cars, I would rather get a manual car. I love driving stick. Growing up when I had the Civic Si, that was my first manual car. I loved it. If I had the opportunity of getting a manual AMG, I would over the automatic. I don't care about the shift speed, but that's driving a car. It's a lot more fun. You're involved. I do prefer it.
Jeez. Now, out of all the cars that you named, can you name one of your top 3 cars that you ever had?
All right, easily, without a doubt, I had a 2019 GT63 AMG that was tuned.
Woo.
That was number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, probably the C63 SE, and then number 3, I had a 2018 C43 AMG with downpipes and a tune stage 2. So I think that was number 3.
Okay. But out of all the cars, if you remember, have you ever had a close call? Because unfortunately, in this lifestyle, the lifestyle that we like about the cars, the speed that they produce, have you ever had a close call?
Believe it or not, no, not with me driving. Maybe getting too close to hitting the car ahead of me at a light, but nothing too serious. No, thank God.
Well, that's very true. Thank God for that, for real. Now, for your car, what's the dream specs are you looking towards in the future for your car right now?
For this one?
Yeah.
So I've been looking into tuning it, but every tune that I found was experimental. Mm-hmm. So I risked blowing the engine. So I'm not willing to take the risk to be the first guinea pig on tuning this car, especially with it being the 4-cylinder hybrid system.
And if you decide to do that, you want to be the guinea pig, let me know so I can put it on my channel.
I'm still thinking about it. I literally just reached out to a tuning company maybe 2-3 days ago.
Okay.
So I'm thinking about it. The exhaust systems, there's not too many available yet. I would like to get an exhaust system or maybe get some catless downpipes.
Wow.
So I'm thinking about it.
Awesome.
Maybe in the future.
Now, to get to more about yourself in the car, can you take me to a journey as far as, because technically you could be driving someone's dream car. Someone clicked on this channel because they say, yo, that's a car I want to get. I want to see the reviews about it, which we're going to get to.
Yeah.
So let's start from the beginning. Where do you pretty much what do you do for a living? How do you go from where you were started to where you got now? What was the journey like?
So I work for Mercedes-Benz. I work in finance, so I'm pretty immersed into the brand naturally because I work there. So I get to see all the new cars that come out. I can test drive just about all of the cars. And it gives me, working for the brand, the ability to kind of switch in and out.
Beautiful. Yes.
So I work for Mercedes-Benz, so that gives me the ability to kind of test drive, all the cars that we have that are coming out. Gives me the flexibility to kind of, trade out of my car if I don't like it too much a little bit sooner, or if I'm leasing it, I can trade out. So that's what I do. I work in finance for Mercedes-Benz.
Awesome. So that's really cool to know. Cool to know. So if you want to consider getting a car like Mike, you know what to apply for, you know what to work your way up to. Now, Mike, what is your ultimate goal for your car?
To be honest, I really want to put downpipes on it and tune it, but I'm not willing to be the guinea pig for it. So it's something that I keep looking into. When I first bought the car, I did call a tuning company and said, hey, what's available? But that's when they mentioned experimental. I reached out a few days ago to a different company, same thing, it's experimental. So ideally, I would like to tune it, and I would like to put the downpipes on it, but I'm not willing to be the first, or I need to see some other people do it first, make sure their car survives.
Yeah.
And if their car survives, then I'm willing to do it too.
Would you consider like getting like wheels for your car, or what would you want to consider for your car? Like, would you like do a wheels and a suspension package?
Wheels, no, but I did it's cosmetic, but I did do paint protection film for the whole front end, and then ceramic pro on top of the film along with the whole exterior of the car. So right now just cosmetic, the PPF and ceramic coating.
Well, let me tell you something about the wheels. Me, I'm not too big on factory wheels, but these wheels will only, if only take back I have for these wheels on the car if it was concaved. Like if it was a staggered setup, depends. But since it's a 4-wheel drive, right?
Yeah.
4-wheel drive, so a square setup is not a bad look. And me personally, these wheels look amazing on the car.
Yeah, I like them.
Satin finish, like a satin black to it.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. And it's a true twin turbo, or is like a single scroll?
No, it's a single turbo.
Oh, so twin scroll.
It's a 2-liter turbo with the electric motor actually in the trunk. So there's very little trunk space. It's like half a trunk.
Wow.
With the electric motor back there.
Wow. You mind if we look at the engine?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. There it is,
so
everybody.
for those who are not too familiar,
there it
all
is, everybody.
AMG built engines, the man or woman that built the engine, they put their signature right on the badge.
Shout out to Kevin. What's up, something? That's the best I could do.
I actually, many years ago, I went
Yo.
to the AMG factory where they produced the engine. So it was a Mercedes-Benz event. Flew over to Stuttgart and the Folterbach in Germany.
Wow.
We got to see them hand assembling the engines. It was really incredible.
Oh my goodness.
Really incredible.
Look at the honey bun on that thing. It's not a small turbo.
Yeah, it puts out some power.
That is not a small turbo for a 4-cylinder.
Yeah.
Oh crap, look at the honey bun on that thing. Jeez. Man. Now with all the talks have been having about this car, the 4-cylinder is not a V8 anymore. Like, what's your take on about the fact that it's not a V8? Like, do you feel the way it performs? Do you really miss the V8 on how it feels, how it drives, or it still performs at the end of the day?
It does still perform. To kind of give a little sneak peek, I think Mercedes-Benz is going back to the V8.
What was there was too many complaints? What happened?
I think when people think of a 63, they think of a 6.3 liter.
That's facts.
Then I believe it was in 2015 or 2016, they dropped down to the 4.0 hot V engine twin turbo, 4.0 V8 twin turbo. So already people weren't too happy about that because a 63 is 6.3 liter.
Right.
Going down to a 4.0.
Yeah.
Now going down to a 2.0 hybrid system.
And it's a 2.0 engine?
Yeah, it's a 2.0. So I do like it a lot, but I'm also very excited for the future going back to the V8. Who knows how much power that the future model is going to put out, but if they integrate a hybrid system with a V8 twin turbo, that'll be some serious power.
But isn't that almost mandatory from what they were saying? Like every vehicle has to, like from they're going about the mile per hour, mile per gallon issues. They want to get something in the near future, if I'm not mistaken, over like close to 800 miles per gallon, something like that. That's the goal. So everything almost has to have a hybrid or fully electric.
They were saying by 2030, all the cars have to be hybrid.
Something like, yeah.
From what I was recently told is that the rules are changing. That's why they're kind of planning on reverting back to the old V8s. That the law will no longer be by 2030, all cars have to be hybrid.
Is that like a Trump thing or is like a?
Yeah, I think so.
My God. Not to get political.
So.
Sorry, folks. Not to get political.
Yeah,
but,
I think that's what's going on.
Man, but you know, Mike, you know what's left to do? We gotta do a ride, my guy. We gotta go for a ride.
Let's do it.
All right. Stay tuned.
Oh, it wouldn't do the restart. I don't know. I don't know how to do it.
Damn.
But it grips.
I did not know. He was holding out this whole time. I'm sitting there, we was on the highway, he did a little cute pull. I'm like, oh, it's not bad, you know. It's not cute. I think my G37 got something on this. I lied to myself. Mike, you're blessed, man. I'm gonna say this now. If anybody that talks about, oh, it's a 4-cylinder, run it. If you're complaining about this thing being a 4-cylinder, it's not a real AMG, then why don't you run it? That's all I can say. Like, man. Mike, it's been an awesome pleasure, bro.
No, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you again, man. Thank you.
Bro, appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I blocked the camera there, but we got it.